Delete your goals, right now, all of them. I know what you're thinking, goals are important. Goals give me direction, goals motivate me. And that's exactly why you're stuck. That's exactly why you keep setting the same goals year after year. That's exactly why you're not where you want to be. Look around you. Everyone has goals. Everyone makes plans. Everyone writes down their dreams and creates vision boards and sets New Year's resolutions. And most of them are in the exact same place they were last year. Same struggles, same problems, same excuses. Because goals don't work. They never did. 500 years ago, Machiavelli watched ambitious men fail despite perfect planning. He saw leaders with clear goals get destroyed by enemies with better strategies. He saw people obsessed with destinations miss opportunities right in front of them. And he realized something. The people who win don't chase goals. They build systems. They move in silence. They adapt without hesitation. They focus on becoming powerful, not reaching milestones. Today, I'm going to show you why your goals are making you weaker, why they're making you predictable, why they're making you vulnerable. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the dark alternative, the method that actually works, the strategy that creates real permanent power. This isn't motivational, this isn't feel-good advice, this is reality. And if you're ready to stop lying to yourself about goals and start building actual results, you need to hear this. Before we start, drop this in the comments. I delete goals, I build power. Let's begin with the brutal truth about why goals are a trap. Goals create premature satisfaction, and premature satisfaction kills achievement. Here's what happens in your brain. When you set a goal, you imagine the outcome. You visualize success, you feel excited, you tell people about it. And your brain? Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you get when you actually achieve something. So you get the reward without doing the work. Your brain thinks you've already succeeded just because you made a plan. This is why goal setting feels so good. You sit down, you write out your goals for the year, you feel productive, you feel motivated, you feel like you're taking action, but you're not. You're just getting high on planning, and that high tricks you into thinking progress is happening when nothing is actually changing. Let me show you the data. 92% of New Year's resolutions fail. 92%. That means almost everyone who sets goals at the beginning of the year gives up before the end. Why? Because they got their satisfaction from setting the goal, not from achieving it. They announced their intention. They felt good about the announcement. Then they lost motivation because their brain already got the reward. Here's the trap. The more detailed your goal, the more satisfaction you get from planning it. The more people you tell, the more dopamine you receive. And the more dopamine you get from planning, the less motivation you have for doing. You've literally rewarded yourself for thinking about success instead of creating it. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Translation? Past promises mean nothing. Present action means everything. Stop making promises to yourself about what you'll achieve. Start taking action without the announcement. Start building without the celebration. Goals make you feel productive while keeping you stuck. They give you the illusion of progress while you stay in the same place. They're a trap disguised as motivation. And if you want real results, you need to delete them completely. Drop this in the comments. I act in silence, I achieve in reality. When you have goals, your enemies know exactly where you're going. And predictability is death. Think about it. You announce you want to start a business in 6 months. You tell everyone your 5-year plan. You post your goals on social media. You share your dreams with your network. And what have you done? You've given everyone a complete roadmap of your next moves. Your competitors know what you're building. Your rivals know where to block you. Your enemies know exactly where to strike. Goals make you a fixed target, and fixed targets are easy targets. Here's what happens in real life. You're working at a company. You tell your coworkers you're aiming for a promotion in the next quarter. Suddenly, the person competing with you knows exactly what you're after. They position themselves. They undermine your projects. They get to your boss first. You gave them advance notice of your move, and they used it against you. Or you're starting a business. You share your idea publicly. You explain your target market. You reveal your timeline. Someone with more money and better connections hears it. They launch the same thing before you do. They beat you to market because you told them exactly what you were planning and when. Goals create vulnerability because they eliminate surprise. And surprise is one of your most powerful weapons. When people don't know what you're building, they can't prepare defenses. When they don't know your timeline, they can't get ahead of you. When they don't know your target, they can't block your path. Machiavelli once said, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." Translation: revealing your plans is inviting opposition. Hiding your moves is creating advantage. The general who announces his battle plan loses. The general who strikes without warning wins. Stop broadcasting your intentions. Stop sharing your goals. Stop making yourself predictable. Because in a competitive world, predictability equals vulnerability. And vulnerability gets exploited by anyone paying attention. Your goals are a map your enemies use against you. Delete the map. Move in darkness. Let your results be the only announcement you make. Drop this in the comments. I move in silence. I arrive unexpected. Deadlines you create become prisons. And pressure you manufacture destroys performance. Here's the cycle. You set a goal with a timeline. I'll make 6 figures by December. I'll lose 20 pounds in 3 months. I'll launch my business by summer. Now you've created artificial pressure. You've put yourself in a self-made cage, and that pressure doesn't motivate you, it paralyzes you. Why? Because now you're not focused on the work. You're focused on the deadline. You're not improving daily. You're worrying about whether you'll hit the target on time. You're not enjoying the process. You're stressing about the outcome. And that stress kills creativity. It destroys consistency. It makes you quit when things get hard. Public goals make it worse. You told people your target, now you're performing for an audience. You're worried about looking like a failure. You're concerned about what they'll think if you don't achieve it. So you either push too hard and burn out, or you give up early because the pressure is too much. Here's what happens to entrepreneurs. They set a launch date for their business. The date approaches, they're not ready, but they launch anyway because they announce the date publicly. The product is rushed, it fails, all because they created artificial pressure that forced bad decisions. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Translation: wise people act based on readiness, not arbitrary timelines. Fools force action because of deadlines they created. The calendar doesn't care about your goals. Reality doesn't bend to your timeline. And forcing yourself to meet self-imposed deadlines often creates worse outcomes than patient, strategic action. Delete your deadlines. Remove the artificial pressure. Work based on readiness and opportunity, not arbitrary dates you pulled from nowhere. Pressure should come from reality, not from goals you made up. Drop this in the comments. I move when ready, not when scheduled. Delete the destination. Focus on direction. Here's the shift. Goals focus on outcomes. Systems focus on processes. Goals are about what you want to achieve. Systems are about who you become. Goals are temporary. Systems are permanent. And systems always beat goals in the long run. Let me break this down. A goal says, I want to lose 20 pounds. A system says, I exercise 4 times a week and eat protein at every meal. See the difference? The goal focuses on an endpoint. The system focuses on daily behavior. The goal ends when you hit the target. The system never ends because it's how you live. Here's why systems destroy goals. First, systems create consistency. You're not motivated by a far-off target. You're committed to daily actions. Second, systems build identity. You're not trying to achieve something. You're becoming someone. Third, systems are flexible. If circumstances change, you adjust the system. Goals break when reality shifts. Fourth, systems compound. Every day the system runs, you get better. Goals give you one moment of achievement, then nothing. Let me give you a real example. 2 people want to build a successful business. Person A sets a goal, make $100,000 in revenue by December. Person B builds a system, talk to 5 potential customers every day. Improve the product based on feedback every week. Learn 1 new marketing skill every month. 6 months pass. Person A is stressed. They're behind their goal. They're considering quitting because the timeline isn't working. Person B doesn't even think about timelines. They've talked to hundreds of customers. Their product is better than when they started. They've learned 6 new skills. And guess what? Revenue is growing naturally because the system is working. 1 year passes. Person A either hit their goal and now has no direction, or missed it and feels like a failure. Person B has built a machine. They're not worried about hitting targets. They're focused on running the system, and the system keeps producing results month after month without the stress of deadlines. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Translation: people see outcomes but they don't see the process that creates them. Stop chasing visible outcomes. Start building invisible systems. The outcomes will appear automatically. Delete your goals. Build systems instead. Focus on daily actions, not distant targets. Become the type of person who gets results naturally, not someone chasing achievements desperately. Drop this in the comments. I build systems, results follow automatically. Stop announcing what you're going to do. Just do it in silence. Every time you declare your intentions publicly, you lose power. Every time you announce your plans, you create resistance. Every time you tell people what you're building, you invite interference. The powerful move in shadows. The weak announce everything. Here's what happens when you operate in silence. First, no one can stop you because no one knows what you're doing. Second, you don't face pressure to perform for an audience. Third, your progress compounds without scrutiny. Fourth, when you finally reveal your results, the impact is massive because no one saw it coming. Compare these two approaches. Person posts on social media, starting my fitness journey today. Going to lose 30 pounds this year, hold me accountable. They get likes, they get comments, they feel motivated. 2 months later they've quit. Too much pressure, too many people watching. Too much embarrassment when progress slowed. Person B says nothing. They just start working out. No announcements, no updates, no accountability posts. 6 months pass. They show up to an event. Everyone notices they look completely different. What happened to you? Just been working on myself. That's it. No explanation, no timeline, just undeniable results that speak for themselves. Which person got better results? Which person felt less pressure? Which person actually made permanent change? Person B. Every single time. Because they operated in silence. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." Translation: control what people see. Let them see results, not process. Let them see transformation, not struggle. Let them see success, not effort. Stop posting about what you're going to do. Stop telling people your plans. Stop seeking validation before you've done anything. Start working in complete silence. Start building without broadcasting. Start improving without announcing. Then let your results do all the talking when you're ready to reveal them. The most dangerous competitors are the ones you never see coming. Be that competitor. Move in darkness. Strike from silence. Let your success be the first time anyone knows you were even in the game. Drop this in the comments. I build empires in silence. I reveal kingdoms in public. Goals are rigid, reality is fluid, and rigid things break when reality changes. Here's the problem with goals: they lock you into one path, one destination, one way of getting there. And when circumstances change, when opportunities appear, when obstacles emerge, you're stuck. You can't pivot because you're committed to the goal. You can't adapt because the goal demands you stay on track. You're a stone trying to force your way through water. But water flows around obstacles. Water finds the path of least resistance. Water adapts to every container, every situation, every change. And water always reaches its destination without breaking. This is the power of deleting goals. Without fixed targets, you can adapt instantly. An opportunity appears that doesn't match your goal. Most people ignore it because it's not part of their plan. You take it. Because you're not locked into anything. Circumstances shift and your goal becomes harder. Most people either quit or force it anyway. You adjust your approach because you're focused on direction, not destination. Look at what happened during the pandemic. People with rigid business goals got destroyed. Their plans required physical locations, in-person events, traditional models. When reality changed, they couldn't adapt fast enough. But people without fixed goals, they pivoted immediately. They saw new opportunities. They shifted to digital. They adapted to the new reality. and many of them thrived while goal setters crashed. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Translation: you need flexibility and strength. Goals give you strength in one direction. Adaptability gives you strength in all directions. Delete your fixed destination. Focus on moving forward in the right general direction. When the path changes, change with it. When opportunities appear, take them even if they weren't in your plan. When reality shifts, shift faster than everyone locked into rigid goals. Be water. Flow around obstacles. Adapt to every situation. And reach success without the brittleness of goals that break when reality hits them. Drop this in the comments. I float like water. I break like stone never does. Don't chase outcomes. Accumulate advantages. Here's the shift in thinking. Goals are about achieving something. Getting to a number. Reaching a milestone. Hitting a target. Then what? You celebrate for a day. Then you're back to zero. You need a new goal. You need another target. You're constantly chasing the next achievement without building anything permanent. But acquisition is different. Acquisition is about gaining assets that compound, skills that never go away, connections that create opportunities, resources that multiply over time, knowledge that pays dividends forever. You're not chasing temporary wins. You're building permanent advantages. Let me show you the difference. Goal mindset: I want to get promoted to manager. Acquisition mindset: I want to master leadership skills, build relationships with executives, and become indispensable to my company. See it? The goal is one event. The acquisition is multiple permanent assets. If you don't get the promotion, the goal mindset leaves you with nothing. The acquisition mindset leaves you with skills, connections, and value that guarantee future opportunities. Here's another example. Goal mindset: I want to make $100,000 this year. Acquisition mindset: I want to learn sales, build a network of high-value clients, and create multiple income streams. The goal is a number that disappears when you spend it. The acquisition creates earning capacity that lasts forever. The powerful don't focus on winning once. They focus on becoming unbeatable. They don't chase achievements. They accumulate advantages that make future success inevitable. They're building an arsenal while everyone else is chasing trophies. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Translation: permanent power matters more than temporary popularity. Accumulated advantages matter more than single achievements. Build yourself into someone so capable, so connected, so valuable that success becomes automatic. Stop chasing the next achievement. Start accumulating permanent advantages. Skills don't expire. Real relationships compound. Knowledge multiplies. Resources generate returns. Build these assets relentlessly, and watch how achievements happen naturally when you're focused on becoming more powerful instead of reaching arbitrary milestones. Drop this in the comments. I accumulate power. Achievements follow automatically. Masters love the work. Amateurs love the goal. Here's the truth that separates people who succeed from people who quit. If you only love the outcome, you'll hate the journey. And if you hate the journey, you won't last long enough to get the outcome. But if you love the process, if you're obsessed with the daily work, the outcome becomes inevitable, and it happens without the suffering. Think about it. Two people want to write a book. Person A is focused on the goal, becoming a best-selling author. They hate writing. They force themselves to sit down. Every session is painful because they're only thinking about the end result. They quit after 3 chapters because the process is torture. Person B loves writing. They're not obsessed with becoming a bestseller. They're obsessed with crafting sentences, with developing characters, with telling stories. They write every day not because they have to, but because they want to. 5 years later, they've written multiple books, and one of them becomes a bestseller, not because they chased it, but because they were so focused on the craft that excellence happened naturally. Goals create burnout because you're always looking at how far you have to go. Process creates consistency because you're enjoying where you are right now. Goals make you miserable until you achieve them. Process makes you fulfilled every single day. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." Translation: judge people by their daily habits, not their stated ambitions. The ruler with disciplined daily processes builds a strong kingdom. The ruler with big goals but poor habits collapses. Fall in love with the daily grind. Become obsessed with the repetitive work that creates excellence. Stop chasing the prize at the end. Start enjoying the process that gets you there. When you love the work, success becomes a byproduct instead of a burden. Drop this in the comments. I love the process, the results love me back. You control effort. You don't control results. Here's the fundamental mistake people make with goals. They measure things they can't control. I want to make $10,000 this month. I want to gain 1,000 followers this week. I want to close 5 deals by Friday. These are output metrics, and outputs depend on factors outside your control. Market conditions, other people's decisions, timing, luck. But inputs? Inputs are completely in your control. Hours worked, skills practiced, connections made, content created, actions taken. You control 100% of your inputs. And when you focus on controlling what you can control, results follow automatically. Let me show you this shift. Output focus: I need to lose 20 pounds. Anxiety, stress, frustration when the scale doesn't move. Input focus: I will work out 4 times this week and eat protein at every meal. Achievable, controllable, progress that compounds. Output focus: I need to make $100,000 this year. Pressure, fear, disappointment when revenue fluctuates. Input focus: I will reach out to 10 potential clients every week and improve my sales skills monthly. Consistent, measurable, building toward inevitable results. When you measure inputs, you win every single day. You worked out? Win. You made your calls? Win. You practiced your craft? Win. Daily wins create momentum. Daily momentum creates long-term results. But when you measure outputs, you only win when the final result arrives. And if that takes months or years, you spend all that time feeling like you're losing. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Translation: control what you can control immediately. Fools wait for results they can't control. Wise people focus on actions they can control right now. Track your inputs obsessively. Hours invested, reps completed, conversations had, actions taken. Control your effort. Trust that results follow effort naturally. Drop this in the comments. I control my actions. Outcomes control themselves. Stop chasing success. Start building value. Success will come to you. Here's the paradox. The more desperately you chase success, the further it runs from you. The more you need it, the less likely you are to get it. Because desperation repels opportunity. Neediness destroys negotiating power. Chasing looks weak. And weakness doesn't get rewarded. But when you stop chasing, when you focus entirely on becoming excellent, when you build so much value that you become undeniable, success starts chasing you. Opportunities appear without you seeking them. People come to you with offers. Doors open that you didn't even knock on. Think about job hunting. Person A is desperate for a job. They apply to hundreds of positions. They beg for interviews. They accept low offers because they need something, anything. Their desperation is obvious, and it costs them power in every negotiation. Person B isn't hunting for jobs. They're building skills, creating projects, sharing their work, making themselves excellent. 6 months pass. Recruiters start reaching out to them. Companies compete for them. They have multiple offers. They negotiate from strength because they're not desperate. They're valuable. Same pattern in business. Person A chases every client, discounts their prices, begs for meetings. Their neediness shows. Clients sense it. They demand lower prices. They disrespect boundaries. They treat Person A like they're lucky to have the work. Person B focuses on delivering amazing results for current clients, building reputation, creating undeniable value. Clients start referring others. People seek them out. They raise prices and clients pay without negotiating. Because value attracts, desperation repels. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Translation: being needed is more powerful than needing. When you're valuable, people fear losing access to you. When you're desperate, people know you need them more than they need you. Delete goals that make you chase outcomes desperately. Build systems that make you valuable automatically. Focus on becoming so good that opportunities have no choice but to find you. Stop running toward success. Start building yourself into someone success runs toward. Drop this in the comments. I build value, success finds me. You now understand why goals are killing your potential. Let's recap quickly. Goals create premature satisfaction that tricks your brain. Goals make you predictable and easy to block. Goals create artificial pressure that paralyzes you. Goals are rigid when reality demands flexibility. Goals chase achievements instead of accumulating advantages. Goals focus on outcomes you can't control instead of inputs you can. And here's the dark alternative. Build systems, not goals. Operate in silence, not declarations. Adapt like water, not stone. Accumulate permanent advantages. Fall in love with the process. Measure inputs you control. Let success find you instead of chasing it desperately. Machiavelli understood something 500 years ago that most people still don't get today. Power doesn't come from planning the perfect future. Power comes from mastering the present moment, from building daily systems that compound, from moving strategically without announcing your intentions, from becoming so valuable that success has no choice but to arrive. So here's what you do right now. Delete your goals. All of them. Stop measuring yourself by arbitrary targets. Stop announcing what you're going to achieve. Start building daily systems that make success inevitable. Start working in silence. Start focusing on becoming excellent instead of achieving milestones. 3 immediate actions. 1. Identify your daily system that replaces your biggest goal. 2. Delete all public declarations of your plans. 3. Commit to 90 days of silent, systematic progress without announcing anything. If this video changed how you think about success, hit that like button. Subscribe for more Machiavellian wisdom that actually works. Drop in the comments what system you're building starting today. Remember, goals are for amateurs who need validation. Systems are for professionals who build power. Drop this final affirmation. I delete goals. I build systems. I become unstoppable.